Top motorsports driver and team owner Justin Peck, number 49, is a whirlwind of inspiration. He is publishing his life story titled Bulletproof for Life, where he tells his tale of addiction, literally beating death and overcoming mental illness while learning to use it to his advantage. Well, he joins us now to tell us more. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining us. I think it's very important that, we're covering mental health, which I think has been so taboo for so long. But, you're coming out in this book and really sharing your story with us. So tell us, what sort of got you to such a dark place, to a point where, you unfortunately attempted suicide?
Yeah, so I went through a time in my life, it was, 10, 11 years ago. I was going through some struggles, was having the depressive side of the disorder, which at that time, honestly, I had no idea that I had it. So I found myself doing my normal day tasks, waking up, kissing my children, going out back, grabbing my dog, throwing my dog in the truck, and we went off to do the normal day-to-day tasks. Throughout that time, I found myself at the top of a canyon that I went there quite often just to kind of unplug from society. And as my dog was running around, I was listening to music. I was writing down a few things to friends and family. Nothing out of the ordinary, and for a brief moment, the rational thinking of my mind turned into irrational thought. So I reached over, I grabbed a pistol that was sitting next to me, I loaded it and put it to my head and pulled the trigger. And it literally was at that moment that I realized that something was wrong. When I pulled the trigger, the adrenaline rush that I got from that was absolutely incredible. Like, it's hard to explain, and it immediately pulled me out of the depressive state. So I knew that there was something kind of goofy in my head. Met with the doctors, ended up getting diagnosed with class 1 bipolar, and been living with it ever since.
Well, the story, a lot of people can probably relate. It's hard for them to talk about it. It's hard for them to face their depression. And I think it's so important for people like you to really bring it into the public perspective and really tell people that this is something that happens to everybody, and anyone is really at risk of it. And, we mentioned addiction. What kind of addiction were you facing, and at what point did you realize that enough was enough?
So I've been racing for 23 years, and I was fortunate enough to start on motorcycles in the desert. So through the 15, 16 years that I raced professionally there, I crashed. It's just part of racing. And so in that period of time, I had broken 78 bones. Had like 19 surgeries. I've got plates and rods and screws and cadaver parts and all sorts of stuff in my body. So every time I'd go in to have the surgery, of course they give you pain medication. Well, injury turned into addiction for me, and I started slow, and it ended up getting out of hand. And there was one moment in my life that I just knew that I had to stop. I was affecting family and friends and myself. So yeah, I quit cold turkey. It was an experience for sure.
Yeah, well, I wish we could talk about this all day. There's so much that people can learn from your experience, and especially, from having written it into your book, people can really sort of immerse themselves in your world and see what it was like from the inside and learn the lessons that you did. So Justin Peck, thank you so much for joining us today, and all of your raw emotion and all of your raw experience and sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Okay, stay right where you are. We'll be right back.